You're on time, so we'll get started. If there's some stragglers who come in, they can catch up. I wanted to begin anyway with introductions. This I like to have up here first of all. If this isn't what you're here for, you can sneak out. We won't talk about you after you leave, but this is what this is. Workshop. What I'm here for. Okay, you're in the right place.
I just saw the cookies and came in.
Okay. Well, some of you, have you been in workshops together already? Or no? This is an entirely new group. Well, let's do introductions. I'll start. I'm Kurt Harris, Director of Learning Abroad, also an Associate Professor of English, teach English from time to time. Been here at SUU since 2001, and the Learning Abroad office consists of 2 full-time staff, myself, Tessa, and a part-time office worker, Karina Carter, and we have a couple of student workers, and we're part of International Affairs, the Office of International Affairs, which consists also of basically the ESL program, International Student Services, global collaborations. I'm missing a component. The Confucius Institute. Yeah, and then recruiting international students. So the umbrella organization is the Office of International Affairs. But what I would like to do is have, I guess, first Tessa and then Stephen introduce themselves, and then each of you just say your name, what department you're with, and if you have led a study abroad program before. Because some of you I don't know, and maybe you've led a study abroad at some other institution, or you've done it here and I don't know about it. So Tessa, who are you?
Hey, so I'm Tessa Douglas. I'm the Assistant Director of Learning Abroad, and I've been working in the study abroad program at SUU in some capacity or another since 2003. I've been doing it for a while. Yeah, that's me. I don't really have anything else.
There's all the details. Stephen?
Steve Allen, serves the Associate Provost for International Affairs, Kurt, Tessa, and the group mentioned earlier. It's good to be here. And I have not led a study abroad
Yet.
You go next.
Hi, I'm Janice Carencia, Director of the Center of Excellence in Teaching and Learning, and thank you all so much for being here today. I'm so excited. We have such a great group. I did lead a international program last summer, to Australia, the Australian Turn Down Under, with 10 students. And this year, Tessa and Kurt are part of my tourism management class, and we're going to pick, we have 11 groups of students putting together international programs, and we're going to pick the top one. And I just got the Curriculum Innovative Grant, got the letter today, to take a group, to turn that class into an international program, and we're going to take a group in May of 2018. So it's official. So you can actually get funding through the Center of Excellence to develop your own program. So that's what we're hoping that this is going to lead to. If you learn and want to do this, which is so exciting, you guys are going to love it. You definitely should do an international program. So welcome and thank you.
Matt, you want to go next? Sure.
My name is Matt Nickerson. I'm the Associate Dean of the Library. I used to be the Director of the Honors Program. I've taught one session of Learning Abroad in London several years ago, but I've done a lot of what we call See America First Learning Abroad, taking students to large educational recreation trips to the national parks. I've done many of those, and it's similar. And I have some ideas of maybe blending those two things.
Excellent. Good. How about we start here next?
Well, I'm Matt Roberts from the Engineering Department, and I've not done this study abroad.
My name is Daisy Wu. I'm from Computer Science Department, and I'm associate professor with Computer Systems. I have been part of WPU 2+2 program, so I traveled with my colleagues to Wuhan, WPU, for to set up the program 2 years ago. And I'm just curious about how you have been doing this, study abroad programs.
I'm Brian. I'm from Criminal Justice and have not done a study abroad program.
I'm Jeannie. I'm also from Criminal Justice, and I have not done a study abroad program either.
You've had some colleagues who have, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I'm Phil Roche, I'm associate professor in the library, and part of the reason I'm here is I've spent the last 5 years like shamelessly trying to get attached to a study abroad, and I'm going to Spain's psychology department this year. So I kept saying, hey, what about a librarian? Don't you want to take a librarian? And they finally bought. So
Good.
so I'm pretty excited.
My name is Matthew Eddy. I teach sociology, and I've never done study abroad, but love traveling and spent a lot of time in Costa Rica in particular. So I'm hoping to do a Costa Rica trip.
Filmmaker also?
Yes. Headed to Paris to have his video in the
Film festival in Paris. And, yeah, I made a film about Costa Rica, so that's what I'm traveling.
That's excellent.
Hi, my name is Howard Hu. I'm Associate Professor in Department of Management, Marketing, and Hospitality. I teach hospitality. No experience in developing study abroad program, but myself actually study abroad.
Yes, you are. Yeah.
So you can appreciate the student's point of view.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's a good.
Julie Combs, assistant professor in English department, and I run the writing center. And I was in Wuhan with part of the team that did the 2+2 organization pre-work. I went back last summer with 4 students. It was not technically a study abroad, but I had 4 students in China, and we were there for a month. So it wasn't technically study abroad, but I have traveled a lot with students in the States, and I really enjoyed the experience we had in China, and just want to learn what I did wrong. How does this thing work? You know, been there, done that.
Lindsay Roper, Department of Biology. I'm in the same boat as Phil. I'm trying to shamelessly tag myself onto a trip.
Be persistent.
Yes, I'm a traditional bench scientist. My head is supposed to be on the bench or something, and I want to find somewhere to take students and go under science. So
We can make it happen. Okay, well, welcome, and thank you. I don't have a lot of text on the slides as I go through this, so if you want to take notes, jot things down. I'm going to kind of ad-lib things, and Tessa's going to fill in the gaps when I miss certain things or misspeak, perhaps. But I do have lots of pictures of students on study abroad programs. This is Olivia Breaker. She was an exchange student to.
she still is. She's a fountain.
She's still over there in the Netherlands. This was at Oktoberfest. Yeah. Anyway, lots of fun things. To me, it's all about the students and the student experience. We can build these programs, but if we don't keep the students in mind first and foremost, things can go bad quickly, I think. So these workshops, today we're just going to be going over the basics, the things to consider. You know, maybe you'll find at the end of the day today that this really isn't for me, it's going to take too much work. I hope you don't feel that way when you leave, but I have accompanied faculty abroad before who thought that they wanted to just go along the first time to see how it works when I took students to London, and realized that she's not cut out for study abroad. She does not want to be around students that much. And that's good to know. So sometimes you don't know until you go. The second session of the workshop will be next Thursday, and we'll start to talk about specific courses that you might turn into a study abroad program and the places that you can go. So we'll get a little bit more specific in the next session. And then the third one, which isn't until April 13th, sorry there's such a gap there, but we couldn't because of, I think it was Sterling Scholars, we couldn't get any space on campus. So April 13th, it's out there a couple of weeks. You'll focus more on building your own study abroad program. Whether you implement it or not, or submit a proposal, that's up to you, but you can build it and then decide from there. So that's going to be the series of workshops. So why should a student study abroad? If we begin with the student experience, I'm sure we perhaps have in our minds why we think students should study abroad, but why do you think a student should study abroad? It's a pretty big investment of time and oftentimes money for a student. Why Why do you think they should study abroad?
Cultural diversity, to be more accepting of other people, places,
Good.
learning experience.
Julia?
You learn in a way that you can't learn anywhere else.
Yeah, there's no other way to get so far outside your comfort zone and your own habits and your daily life than to go
It
abroad.
wakes people's senses up in a way that.
Yeah, yeah.
can't happen.
Good. Others?
They learn confidence, self-assurance.
That's
They're
been
very confident when they come back.
that's been the biggest one to me. I've had students who've been shy and tentative in class, and they go abroad and they come back, and it's like, not that they become a completely different person, but it's like they have confidence now, much more so than they did before they went abroad. So there are personal, emotional, intellectual, certainly career-wise.
Career-wise, there's a study of 1,200 human resource directors that said that student, and I actually did a study to find that students who, forgot about that, who studied abroad had more employable skills. And things like budgeting, personal communication were completely higher on students that actually studied abroad than those that had never studied abroad.
They learn different ways to communicate, not speaking really in a different language. Sometimes they learn another language, but they understand cultural nuances better. Any others? I think one that's often overlooked, doesn't have to do specifically with a student, although it kind of does, is political. It's kind of a soft diplomacy. When people meet people from other countries, then things that happen in other places in the world become more personal. Oh, I know where that is. I know that, I met a family there. And it's not just, those people over there. It's part of cultural knowledge. So there are different ways to kind of pitch study abroad to students. You'll learn this, you'll enhance your career. But they really don't get it until they come back. And what we've learned is that for those students who maybe are on the fence about whether they want to study abroad or not, or they think, I don't want to study abroad, it's too hard. The biggest factor, or the person that has the biggest influence on a student, whether they study abroad or not, is a faculty member, faculty and staff. We did a survey, Tessa did a survey, and that's what, I thought it would be family or friends, but it was faculty, by far.
Overwhelmingly
Yeah.
faculty,
Yeah.
professors.
Yeah.
What you think?
Did I miss any, Tessa, of the why a student should study abroad? You advise
Oh my
students?
gosh, you could go on and on and on forever. I think you got
The main
pretty
ones?
well covered though.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a student, this is Hayden Hess, I think, this student here. He studied abroad in Barcelona. He traveled all over the place. I believe this is his roommate who's from Finland, and they had a Finnish day, and his girlfriend. So they painted their faces with the Finnish flag. Kind of demonstrating. They make international friends, not necessarily just in the country they're in. So what types of study abroad are available? Let me just see if I can go to our website and kind of show. Where am I? This doesn't look great. Maybe this isn't gonna work anyway. Yes, it will. Okay. This is the study abroad website, just so you know where it is. You can type in after suu.edu, you can just put /study abroad, or put in the academics /study abroad. It'll take you to our website. But just to kind of explain a little bit about the types of study abroad students can take advantage of. I don't know if this is big enough for you to see, but summer study abroad, which is what we'll really be spending the most time talking about in these workshops. So I'll just bypass that. Semester study abroad, students can study for a semester or 2 semesters at one of our partner universities. And we have over 40, I think it's approaching 50 now, partner universities in over 25 countries. And students can pay SUU tuition, basically register for classes so that they get credit for SUU classes, but study in Barcelona or the Netherlands or Japan or Estonia or Morocco or Peru or wherever. Actually not Peru, Chile. We don't have a partner in Peru yet. And their credits will transfer back. So they don't lose any time toward graduation. They don't pay tuition, overseas tuition. So they have the cost of a flight to go overseas. They might have to apply for a visa that costs them money. but it's a really very cost-effective way for students to study abroad. And they get really immersed in the culture of living there for 4 months or 8 months or whatever. Ideally, I think for my part, I would encourage all students to go on that type of study abroad because they really spend time in the culture. But what I've learned over the years is that students come to study abroad at different stages. Some of them aren't ready for that. They're not adventurous is the right word, but they're just not quite ready to make that leap where they go to a foreign country for 4 months. And so the shorter faculty-led group programs going abroad can be a step toward gaining confidence traveling internationally. In any case, semester study abroad programs we also have. National student exchange, students can, it's very similar to the international exchange programs, but students can study at over 200 universities in the US, but also Canada, US Virgin Islands, Guam. So if they study it in Canada, that's kind of an international experience. And students, I've come to learn now that we have the EDGE program, do a lot of study abroad that doesn't go through our SUU programs. Many students teach English overseas, frequently with an organization called International Language Programs, ILP. They do service in Mexico, rural health scholars, Dominican Republic. There are lots of other ways for students to study abroad. We promote our programs because students can get course credits. We can kind of have a little bit more control over what the student is doing, but we certainly don't want to discourage them from teaching English overseas if they want to do that in Thailand, for example. We don't have a program there, and get an EDGE credit. Yeah, those are pretty much the study abroad.
Can I ask a question, or do you want us to say our question?
Certainly, no, go ahead and ask.
I knew about the national one. I've known students that, Washington for a semester. So if they do a semester study abroad internationally, don't they have to know the language? So I have two questions. No, they don't know the language, and then do students know about this? Are they taking advantage of this? Do we do this quite often?
We get about 30 national student exchange or international?
International.
I guess it's between 25 and 30 students per year do international exchange. We just hit our deadline for the next fall. We have 15, we might have another one, maybe 16 students studying abroad for a semester next fall.
And the language?
And the language, many of the universities that we have partnerships with, the courses are taught in English. Sometimes not, and sometimes a student who maybe is fluent in Spanish, for example, will go somewhere and take classes in Spanish. That's relatively rare. But our partner university in Greece, for example, is very popular. The American College of Greece in Athens. Everything is taught in English. We have, 3 students who signed up to go there next fall?
Yeah, with probably one more. We send more students there than anywhere else. But most of our partners, the reason that we've partnered with them is they typically have at least one academic program that's taught in English, even if it's business is the most common one. But we try to find partners that our students can go to. And so they don't have to know a foreign language to go. We might direct them if they don't know a foreign language and they're not studying, a specific major that's taught there. We'll direct them to another location that does have their major in English.
And some of the partner universities require that our students or the international students who go there, they take their classes in English. They have to take the foreign language class. I think the French business schools, that frequently the students take a foreign language and they're immersed in the culture anyway. They just are taking the classes in English, which is helpful so that they can get decent grades and not be completely lost. But yeah, good question. Any other questions about our partner universities? Go to our website and see the list of where they can go. Okay, gotta get back to my screen here. Got it. Okay, those are the study abroad programs. Next up, what is a faculty-led study abroad program like?
Like
that.
And I purposefully chose this picture so that you can answer the question.
Oh,
What's it like?
It
It looks like it's a party.
Well, this is for tourism management. So again, the two classes that they were getting 6 credits in tourism management and then in special topics in tourism. So obviously seeing the Opera House at sunset and in Sydney was just an amazing experience. We were in the Botanic Gardens at the time, and they are just, it's really great to see another country that you love through a student's eyes, because it just opens up, you know, a whole new way of looking at that community. And I mean, I love Sydney, it's my favorite city on the planet, but to share it with them is such a great experience. And it's such, you see them growing and learning, and they bonded, and, you know, just the relationships that are built, they're lifelong relationships.
That's one of the things too that I think is kind of a side effect of studying abroad. You think about that, you know, they're immersing themselves in the culture, but I just took a group of 30 students to London, and it was amazing to see friendships form, and now we have a Facebook page and they're sharing things, and it creates communities really of students who otherwise probably wouldn't have met.
Absolutely.
They might have because you know, tourism management. But
A
the most
lot
part,
of them
students
weren't. Yeah, many of them weren't actually. Some of them were, but there were a few that were other majors, and some even had already graduated. The third one from the left, that was her graduation gift. And she didn't graduate from tourism, so that was Renee Gallinger's daughter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's a great girl, and we had an amazing trip. But I think mainly it's that building the relationships, the experience that they get. It's a once in a lifetime experience, and it's a life changing experience. I've taken groups to Australia 5 other times, and those people still keep in touch with me.
Yeah.
We've, they're lifelong students for me. I'm involved in their life, and I'm, you know, at their weddings, and, you know, invited to see their children, and, you know, even with their families and their parents and stuff. So you're going to build that real close relationship with your students by traveling with them.
Kinds of the university as well.
Absolutely, it does. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Pride.
For student retention, I think it's
Yes.
a very good tool.
Yes.
Matt, did you want to provide any perspective on what it's like?
I
Yours is-
agree. And I love what she said about seeing a country or a city or a national park, all of which for the first time every time you take the new students.
Yeah.
It's so great. I mean, Sydney 5 times, you think, oh, why would I go back again? But the kids make it totally a different experience, and the different group makes it a different city every time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I thought at some point I'd get tired of London just because I've been there a few times, but it's so exciting, and we've built it now so that we get out of the underground station the very first day when we get there, and come out so that they're looking at Big Ben. And to me, it's like I've seen it so many times that it's no big deal, but to see it through their eyes, it's like, oh, I can't believe that. And I haven't gone with students to the Harry Potter studios yet, but some have burst into tears. They're just so excited to be there. Yes.
I just have a question about, so the faculty, I've never been out of the country, and I never got to go on a study abroad, and I always wished I could have done it. It's like my biggest regret from when I was in school. Oh, only I would have taken advantage of that.
Right.
So, well, maybe I could leave one, but I feel like, how can I leave one? I've never been out of the country. Is it possible for someone like me to lead a trip when I've never been anywhere?
Maybe not to lead one, but to go with somebody for the first time and then see what it's like, and then you can perhaps do it. That's how I started. I was an exchange student when I was 18 years old. I took a gap year, and so I knew what it was like to be an exchange student and how it changed me a lot. Gave me much more confidence. But I had never led a study abroad group before, and I don't know if any of you remember Kay Cook, if you've been here long enough, but she
How many know?
What's that?
How many know, Jacob? That'd be an interesting question.
She was chair of the English department.
She was awesome.
Yeah, she was awesome, but she had built this study abroad program to London, and she ran it a couple of years, and she was going to retire. And I said, well, who's gonna run your London program after you leave? She said, I don't know. I just did it. And I said, well, can I learn how you do it? And back then there were only maybe 3 or 4 programs. Hers was one of them. And so I accompanied them the first year. I thought, this is pretty awesome. I've got to do this. But I learned from her sort of where to stay with a group of students in London and how to teach them to use the underground and take the train to Stratford and show them Shakespeare's birthplace and that sort of thing. I had never been to those places or done those things. I had only been through London one time very quickly before I went with Kay Cook's group. And it is the most difficult the first time you lead your own group because you're sort of figuring everything out. You make mistakes. They're learning experiences. But after you do it the first time, it's like a drug.
Yeah.
For me, it was anyway. Probably not for everybody. And maybe you'll get a batch of students, or you'll have a couple of really difficult students and think, I never want to do this again. Spending 2 weeks overseas with these kids is just more than I can handle. But probably not. There are so many faculty, SU faculty, who repeatedly lead study abroad programs, oftentimes to the same place, sometimes to different countries because they want to experience different things. But the majority of the faculty directors who have led study abroad programs, they might not do it every year, but then they'll do it every other year, typically. And I don't know how many sort of repeat programs we have at this point. It continues to grow.
London, Japan, psychology, Swaziland and South Africa, criminal justice, they always go somewhere else, but they consistently have programs. Spanish.
And answering her question, I am a third generation Kay Cook because I went on the Kay Cook Kurt version of London. It was already, many of it was already done, and I only added my discipline to a thing that was already 3/4 done. So that worked out.
A lot of people start out with combining with another group, like somebody who's been there. So London's the most common one. We run a lot of programs in London. And this year we'll have 2 sets. So there will be a group that goes in May and a group that goes in June. And it's different faculty teaching different classes. And that's a good one to join in with because London's kind of easier. You know, the language isn't different, the culture different but similar. You know, it's not like going to Hungary.
And it's popular. Students
and
want
it's
to
very,
go.
very popular. And it's very easy, especially, what do you teach?
Art.
Art. And so, I mean, art, it lends itself very well to going to London.
And I want to go London.
Yeah.
Any other
So-
places around?
Yeah.
So we just need to put you in touch with some of the other people going and then connect you with them.
So I guess the other question would be is I know, we say study abroad, so you think international, but from a science perspective, I think there's tons of like ecotourism opportunities that would be in the United States. You don't need to leave the country to go do something like that. And so would that still fall under this envelope kind of idea or?
Not for faculty-led programs. And I'll speak about this, well, I can speak about it later today or I was planning on Wednesday, but the structure of study abroad programs, students can take up to 7 credits really, and the tuition is waived. And that's been something that was in place, it's been in place for years
Since we started it.
to encourage study abroad because it costs so much to travel overseas and do a program that if you add on top of that 6 or 7 credits tuition, there's no way students can afford it. So tuition is waived up to 7 credits. With domestic programs, I don't think that would be possible. I suppose it's something.
You could leave the trip, just not maybe get the credit for free.
Yeah.
And it would be run through your department rather than through us. This process is only for international faculty.
Yeah. We did have, we kind of addressed that question a little bit several years ago where somebody proposed I think it was a tourism management class that would be a cruise of the Hawaiian Islands.
Wow.
There's certainly value in that. I would love to go on that, but it's not international. And it is, different cultures and things like that. It's not Southern Utah, but it just doesn't fall under the umbrella of global engagement and learning abroad. So we have to say no. Probably.
Just to give you an idea, we do have a semester on the POX program.
Yep.
So that might be a.
Well, I'm talking like there's fantastic go this summer in Alaska.
Oh,
go
yeah.
camping in
Yeah.
the Alaska
Yeah.
wilderness.
That'd be wonderful. Yeah.
That's, and you get to see caribou migration and you get to see
Yeah.
all the bears coming out of the region. So it's
Oh,
like, to me, you don't need to leave the country to do that.
Yeah.
I guess I could go over into Canada instead of Alaska.
Yeah.
Make a day trip.
I don't know if this is too much of a nuts and bolts question, but as a relatively poor professor, getting over there, I'd love to stay longer and do research. Is that possible, or do I have to physically come back on the plane with them? Or
It's possible.
okay.
we can address that later, but as far as costs to the faculty member, they can be just about zero, the way that we structure the programs. So in most cases, it is zero, but if you want to stay a little longer, you wouldn't have to accompany the students back and then go back to where you just came from.
Can students stay longer too?
Yeah, on almost all programs. Depends on how you build it. But yeah, sometimes students arrive early and they leave late. We're pretty flexible. But we'll talk about that. So what is a faculty study abroad program like? It varies widely, and not all of the experiences are 100% positive. Although I can't really think of a terribly negative thing that has happened. I had a student break his arm once, but that was no big deal really. Just took him to the ER. And I have had students, kind of surprisingly, on a 2-week trip, this was very early on, who got homesick, or they were just so much out of their element that they almost couldn't function. And those students, you kind of talk them through and do a little more hand-holding. Don't sort of diminish the value of their emotion or say, you're only here for 2 weeks, what's your problem? You sort of work through that. But there are some challenges from time to time. But for the most part, it is very positive and fun. It does take a lot of work to put it together, to follow up, to be there 24/7. Who can lead a study abroad program? If this guy can do it, anybody can do it. That was taken last week, maybe about just barely over a week ago in London with the students. Who can lead a study abroad program? Typically, if you're a full-time professor, you can lead a study abroad program. Staff have accompanied professors on study abroad. If really what it boils down to is if you teach a class here at SUU and you want to turn it into a study abroad or offer that course credit on study abroad, you can do it if you get the approval of your department chair and dean. Or I guess the way I should put that is the whatever the course falls under. If you might teach a class in art, for example, I don't know, but you're really an English professor, you'd have to get the approval of the art chair and dean of that college. So really just about anybody. I don't know if we've had anybody who has proposed a program and we've said no because you don't qualify.
The only thing that I would say, but you're all faculty, so this doesn't apply, is since faculty or since staff cannot teach classes, staff cannot lead a study abroad unless they get permission to do it. But if you have a really big group of students and you want somebody else to accompany you, and there's not a faculty member but a staff member maybe, that's okay because they're not teaching the class and they are a university employee. But in order to lead the study abroad, you've got to be able to teach the classes that are offered.
And typically we, the trip I took students on over spring break, there was no course credit attached to it because it was just 1 week and it was a special program that we built. But as an incentive to students, both to invest their money and time into the study abroad, and also to kind of keep track of them, make sure they don't just go and goof off. Study abroad is tied to a course. You were going to say something.
We had talked last semester about how even some of the students that may know the country want to go as a TA or as an assistant, or maybe they can get a little bit of funding towards the trip. So you could have, a student that could be almost like in a accommodation on RA. They're in there talking, but they report to you. And so I just thought I'd mention that.
Yeah, that's good. We've had that in the past too, where students who, and they don't have to have studied abroad before, but students who studied abroad the first time ever, and they just loved it so much, and they were maybe a sophomore, and they want to go again. Well, if you want to be my TA and sort of help out, you can sort of offload some of your work onto them and give them a reduced rate to study abroad again, basically. I guess my point is that if you're in this room, you can probably lead a study abroad program. You don't need to worry about, well, I've only been here for a year. I don't know, whatever your case might be. You can probably, we're pretty flexible. We work with people quite well, I think. what courses can be taught on a faculty-led study abroad program. I use this picture as an example because a couple of courses that don't seem as if they would be compatible were combined in a study abroad. This is to Swaziland. John Smith, who teaches a photography class, and Ann Smith, his wife, led kind of, I think, the ecotourism part of the class. So there was a 3-credit photography class and a 3-credit ecotourism class combined in this one program. So if a course can be enhanced, and there are always courses that are already on the books. It's not like you create a study abroad class and it has to go through the curriculum committee and all that. It's I don't know, intro to theater. And what better place to introduce students to theater than London? So we have a Theater in London program. So if there's a course on the books that can be enhanced by a location abroad, biology, geology, whatever, then it can be turned into a study abroad program.
Culinary.
Culinary, definitely. I can think of only one example, I guess, where someone wanted to propose a study abroad program and really could not demonstrate how taking students abroad to teach that class would enhance the class. It was a math class. I don't know what level it was, but this professor really wanted to go to Ireland. And he's a math professor. Well, how does it enhance the class? He couldn't really come up with it. So he might still be working on that. I don't know. That was quite a few years ago. So I won't say that any course can be taught on a faculty-led study abroad program, but if you can envision it being enhanced by a location abroad, then probably yes.
And I'm going to just give you a shameless plug for the Center of Excellence in Teaching and Learning to let you know you can also get paid to rearrange that schedule through the curriculum innovative grants. Right now we have 4 groups that are going to be going this summer, and next year we're going to have another round. So please keep your eye out for that newsletter so that you can apply for those curriculum innovative grants. It pays $1,000, pays you to do the work to put it together. So it's a little incentive to give you that little extra.
Because it does take work. It takes time.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, sorry.
Are there any requirements that we have to do in order to develop a study abroad program?
Any requirements?
Yeah,
in what?
requirements? Because you say almost all kind of courses can be, what are the requirements we have to meet?
We have a proposal form, which I'll show you probably at the end of next week's workshop, sometime next week, that asks a series of questions that you need to answer fairly thoroughly. We take those proposals, faculty submit their proposals in early September, and we have an advisory board for learning abroad, which consists of professors who represent each college. And they look through the proposals, look through the budgets, timeline, the course that's being taught, the person who wants to lead the program, and say, yes, this is approved, we have confidence this will be a good, solid program, or we have concerns here that I think it's going to cost more than this professor realizes, or I don't see how this class is enhanced by its location in wherever, Swaziland. So it's not just me or Tessa saying, yeah, this looks good, we'll let them do it. We have other eyes that look it over. Does that answer the question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, your department chair and dean have to sign off on that proposal form. So you've got to convince them even before you've got to convince us.
Yeah. And I don't know if we've ever had any who have refused to sign.
I know for the Indian trip,
Oh, there was some.
there was a department chair dean that would not sign off on this process.
Okay. It happens. Stephen, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was wondering if faculty maybe have contacts in other parts of the world. So if there are experiences or internships or things that faculty use as a way to illustrate that it's enhancing the class. We had
internships.
Well, I mean, to be very short, but I'm just trying to think of those who teach subjects that might be a little more difficult to. I'm thinking of the math professor. Like, how do we help this math professor? But
Oh, I think I do for that. professor, he can go to the schools and teach math. Have the kids teach math in the schools,
Yeah.
just like they teach English.
There you go.
But he probably had no idea how to set that up.
So service learning would be a type of, maybe a method,
Service learning.
a method to make that enhancement.
Oh, I'm glad you
I
said
would,
that.
I would say though, that you need to go with kind of what your heart tells you. Like, I really love what I teach. For example, Dickens, I love Dickens novels, and I love London. I would love taking students to London to, see the Dickens sites, the Dickens House Museum, that sort of thing. If somebody said, I think we need to have you lead a trip to Tanzania and teach whatever, I wouldn't be the right person for that, probably. I wouldn't know how to do that. So I would say it's got to be kind of your passion, and either I've been to this place, I love it, I want to take students and show them, or I've never been to this place, but I would love to go there, see what it's like. Kind of go with what your heart says. Think about it too, obviously, but Phil, you were.
You mentioned that with Anna and John Smith, they combine 2 3-unit courses. Is there a minimum or maximum amount of units?
The maximum credits that students can get on a study abroad is 7. So sometimes there are 2 3-credit classes, and then they add a service learning component, or the foreign language classes, for example, are 4 credits, and then they also offer a cultural learning, the 3-credit class. And students aren't required to take
All
the classes
7 of
that
the
are,
units?
sometimes they just want to take, I really want to take this 3-credit class, I want to take this other one.
So they can opt in and out if they want.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you.
And you as a professor can offer more classes than the students can take. For example, especially the foreign language courses, like Spanish will have 10, 10, 10, 20, 20, 10, 20, 20, 35, 10.
Right.
So you can offer more, and then as long as they're approved, then the students can just pick and choose which
Yeah,
ones they want.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a quick one.
Yes.
Can we add Edge as one of the classes that they can take?
No, not as a class. Edge is a 3 1-credit classes.
Right.
There's the introductory part, there's the proposal part, basically they're proposing what their Edge project is going to be. Then they go do their project, and then when they come back, they report on it in Edge 40, 30. So they don't get course credit for Edge, but many students use their study abroad as their actual Edge experience or their Edge project. Yeah. Yeah, good question. But they don't get any course credit for that specifically. Okay, where can you take students? You can take students to Fiji and sit on a beach for 10 days. You can take students anywhere really, except places in which there's a U.S. Department of State travel warning, in which case you might not want to take students there anyway. Although even in those cases, depending on what the warning is like and the faculty member who wants to take students there, we had a spring break trip to Mexico City. Mexico is on the travel warning list. Mexico City, the way the travel warning is structured, it's very specific about different states within Mexico. Mexico City, for the most part, especially where the professors were going to take the students, is safe. And there were professors who have been there, they've taken their own families there, who were pretty confident that they knew what they were doing. And they came back with 100% of the students. That's always the goal. So you can take students really anywhere. I would recommend that you have been there before so that you know what you're doing. But I don't know.
I'd also recommend that maybe if you're thinking about it, talking to your students and seeing if there are places that they would prefer to go. It's a lot easier to recruit for popular places.
Yeah. Which is one reason I think I speak so much about London, because we have so many programs that run there. But it's not only the most popular destination among SUU students, but the Open Doors report just came out, and the UK is by far the most popular place for all American students who study abroad.
Yeah.
Number 2 was it Italy? United Kingdom, Italy, and then Spain, France. China was number 5. Germany, Ireland, heavily European. Costa Rica, Australia's number 9. Yay for Australia. Japan, South Africa, Mexico, India. That's the top 13. Oh, I guess they go to 25. It is pretty heavily European.
Yeah, but you can go anywhere. It's just
Who was that book?
you've got to recruit people. You've
Open
got to recruit
Doors.
students, and it's just a lot
Open Doors.
easier if you pick countries that they want to go.
Do you question why you choose that country? do you question professor why you choose that country? Why not the other country?
No, we never say, we don't think China would be a good place for that program. We think you should do it in Chile. You want to take it to China, you have your reasons. It's
So as
your,
long
it's
as
your
we can
class.
explain it, and
Yep, exactly.
that'll be fine, right?
Yep.
For example, I have a course, international cuisine. We
Yep.
talk about all kind of cuisine around the world.
Yeah.
I can't bring students all over the world.
Exactly.
Right? I can only choose maybe 1 or 2 countries.
Right.
Yeah. So that's why I have these questions. So as long as I can explain why I choose this country.
Yeah.
then
And you might need
no
to
problem.
explain, not to us or the advisory board that reviews the proposal, but you might need to explain that to your department chair and say, I know this is international cuisine class. I'm taking students to only 2 countries, but I'll cover that other stuff that I need to cover.
Cover that in the following 10 years.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes.
Is there an amount, you were saying, you have to recruit the students, is there like a minimum to be able to go on a trip, you have to have this many
Number of students?
Yeah.
We'll cover that, but that's a very good question. There's the way the budget is structured, and it might seem like we're focusing way too much on budget, but it's very important that you know, because you're not a travel agent, right? But you're filling the role of a travel agent in some ways. You have to know that you're not going to spend more money than you have taken in from the students when they're paying their fees. You also can't charge them so much that they can never afford to go on your trip. And typically you do need to have a minimum number of students to make it financially viable. But those minimum numbers vary widely. Some have a minimum of 3 or 4 students, some have a minimum of 12 or 15. Typically kind of the sweet spot seems to be about 10, 8 or 10 maybe, 12 students, somewhere in there. As a minimum number of students. There's also the question of when you're taking a group of students abroad, how many can you really keep track of by yourself? We prefer that faculty members go in at least pairs, or depending on how large their group is, 3 or 4. This group that went to Mexico City over spring break, because it was Mexico City, they felt that a ratio of 5 students to 1 professor they felt most comfortable with. So they had 4 professors accompanying 20 students. I just took 30 students to London and we had 3 professors, or three faculty leaders. I felt that a ratio of 10 to 1 was good enough. Would have been maybe more comfortable with 1 or 2 more, but we had a budget to work with. So it depends. Oftentimes my answer to your questions are going to be, it depends. It varies. But we're happy to work with people to make it happen. We want to offer as many opportunities to students as possible, but we want them to be good, solid study abroad programs.
Do you have limited number of students to, for each study abroad program?
A limited number?
Limited, yeah, or a minimum number. Or maximum number.
It's up to the faculty leading it, really.
Yeah, it's up to you. You might another thing to consider when you're thinking about the courses you teach and that sort of thing. If it's a very specialized 4,000 level class and there are maybe only 10 majors who are graduating with that degree, you're probably not going to get all 10 of them to study abroad with you. So typically general education classes, you can fill those up with students. Or if you teach in a program that has a lot of students, that's their major, you can probably build a program on that as well. So there's not
a minimum requirements.
No minimum really,
But if it's too small, your price per student will probably be very high, and so then it would be very difficult to.
The main reason for that, too, without getting into too many details, although you guys are asking really good questions, is that if you have only 1 or 2 students going abroad, who's going to pay for you? Because the way we structure it is if you have 10 students and built into your budget is, say, $300 goes toward the faculty member travel costs. Say it costs $3,000 for the faculty member to accompany the students abroad. That's how we factor that in. So if you have only 2 students, you're spreading that instructor cost much more.
So when you have the 3 faculty, were those 3 faculty paid for by the student fees?
Yeah.
All of them are included, okay, because again, the one thing that you might consider is the airfare is usually not included, so that's really good in the budget. And if you're going to a country where, like in Australia, dollars worth more, then I'd had to have fewer students because the exchange rate was in our favor.
Yeah.
So consider the exchange rate, and when you add up all your accommodation and your trips and tours that you're doing, and your expense, then you can say, okay, it's this amount of money divided by 10. People would cost them, if you know, keep it under 3,000 or 2,500, the lower the better.
Yeah.
For the student, then that's how you figure out the number.
Yeah, your budget
Total
is,
expenses divided by the number.
We'll start to work through
Yeah,
that,
well-
that stuff in the next workshop.
yeah.
We've only got about 5 minutes left. And I think I have, well, just 3 or 4 slides. One of them says questions, but you've already been asking questions. What commitments must one make to direct a faculty-led study abroad program? It takes however much time you want to put into putting it together, but on the front end, building a program takes some time. Not only putting together the proposal and submitting it for approval by the advisory board, but then if it is approved, which it probably will be, then leading up to the program, you have to reserve hotels or dorms, arrange local travel, or you can farm that out to a travel organization if you want, but then the price frequently goes up. But there's a lot of front end work, and then there's the stress of getting the students to the location and then being with them and managing them and making sure they're okay and they're not getting lost, or we don't really have this problem, but I think other universities perhaps do. Students going out for the first time, they're old enough to drink and they party, and lots of different things can happen. You all heard about the incident in London yesterday. That was just 3 or 4 days after I left with my group. And we were on that bridge seeing things. It could have been us. You never know what's going to happen, but if we say, oh, well, can't go, it's too dangerous, then you're never going to go anywhere. Don't go to Las Vegas. So there's a pre-departure commitment. There's a commitment of being on site with the students, and you really need to make yourself available 24/7 when you're there. You don't have to be with the students all the time. They have to know that if it's 2 in the morning and something happens to them, they can get a hold of you and wake you up in your room so you can help them get out of whatever situation they're in. And really the only incident like that I've encountered is when I had a little knock on my door at a little after midnight. And it was the student accompanied by, he was the only male student, I think, in the group. But the students had gotten back to the location where we were staying too late and the park gates were shut. So they decided to jump the wall. And all 3 girls who were jumping the wall made it just fine. And the guy fell down and hurt his leg. And we think Greg might have broke his leg. So at 1 in the morning, I accompanied him to the emergency room. So you need to commit to not just, oh, well, you're an adult, take care of it yourself. And then when you come back, frequently, one of the questions faculty have is well, how do you teach a 3-credit class in 2 weeks? Very rarely, I think, are the classes, all the course material is covered in 2 weeks. You don't want to sit in a classroom and lecture to students while you're in Chile or whatever, or Australia. Frequently, they have to write papers, do some research or whatever when they come back. Maybe they have some reading they have to do before they go. You'll have to grade that stuff. You also need to keep track of all of your receipts and budget issues and all that stuff. When you come back, you have to submit that, do your travel reimbursement, and so it is a pretty heavy commitment. But I do have to say, after you do it the first time, it becomes easier. I don't know if yours has, but.
Well, I think the hardest part is those darn receipts and keeping track of all that. That's the hardest part. But the you mentioned, oh gosh, where was I going with that? That the commitment when you're there, I don't think that that's a problem at all. You're there, you're with them.
Yeah,
And,
exactly. No,
you know,
it isn't.
I give them a free day, but then I say, go do a video tour, or go see these 10 spots and send me photos. We set up a WhatsApp, and they send me pictures all day when they're out. And we keep in touch with cell phones. So it's so much easier now.
Yeah,
There
it
was
is.
no
It is
phone
much
like
easier now than it
before.
used to be.
Now they just, they text you and tell you where they're at. And give them some time to explore on their own, but most of the trips and tours we do together.
Yep.
So I'm with them.
And on mine, I give students free time as well. And so I was gonna kind of end with this. Expect the unexpected. There are these kind of magical moments that happen. During the free time, the students, this is blasphemous, I know, but I'm not a Harry Potter fan. But I think all 30 of my students were Harry Potter fans, and 6 of them decided to go to Harry Potter Studios. They arranged it themselves, they figured out how to take the train to Leavesden, book the tickets, and they went there, and unbeknownst to them, well, first of all, the first day we went to Buckingham Palace thinking we were gonna see the changing of the guard. We saw the Queen, she came out to, it was Commonwealth Day, so the Queen came out. Wow, we saw that, thought that was the big highlight. Then this student went to a play and afterwards met Daniel Radcliffe. She's a big Harry Potter fan. She's the one who kind of led the group to Harry Potter Studios. And when she did, this is what happened. These are SUU students right here. I'm gonna pull up.
Right, click it maybe, right? It came up like it was gonna, yeah, go ahead now. Oh, it's a handout, but yeah, double click.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Oh, I see, sound is on. Okay, where's my cursor? There it is. They had no idea this was going to happen. These are all SUU students here. They were in the front row. That's them right there.
I'm pleased you got the right one. This is good news. Oh my God, we have someone listening and they're right up here. Best ever. How you doing?
I'm a very important job for you. If you could both put your hands on a hand of each of these beautiful doors.
Try that.
So this wasn't part of the Cultural Immersion London program I put together. I would have never known. But this is something they will
treasure forever.
Yeah, they'll remember it forever. It lasts only a couple of minutes, but at the very end, there are 3 SUU students are kind of highlighted. So he took all of this. It was done by Harry Potter Studios, and our students just happened to be captured most often.
These are the best. They're the cutest. They're the most handsome. That's scary. Those kind of things.
Before I even met it, because I went to the set and it was beautiful, and I love everything Harry Potter, and just the icing on the cake. And now I love it so much. So. I had no idea that they would be here. Wow.
These are our students.
I'm freaking out.
So, expect the unexpected. Escape, maybe? So, I don't really have any more slides. And we're over time now. So, I guess what I was going to finish with is, in addition to if there are any questions, if there are any questions, certainly feel free to ask them. But an assignment for next time. Next time, we're going to look at courses that you could teach abroad and the places you can take the students and discuss, kind of doing an analysis of that. Like, is this really a good course to teach abroad? So what I want you to do for next time is choose 1 or 2, maybe 3 classes that you currently teach or that you are approved to teach, and think about how that class might be enhanced by taking students abroad. And then also think about where you would want to take those students. If you've been someplace, or if you would like to go someplace, consider safety issues. Where would the students stay? How would we get around the city, or how would we get from Vienna to Prague? Consider the location and consider the course. And next week, we'll have a kind of a mini proposal and address some questions. You guys asked great questions already this time around, but we'll try to begin to formalize it a little bit, and then in the final workshop, you'll put together a proposal with all of the details. And we will spend, as I said already, quite a bit of time on budgeting things. But safety is important, the class is important.
Maybe it would be an idea if you could email everybody a copy of the actual proposal, because it's not daunting at all. There's only about 10 questions.
Yeah.
And that way you get an idea of what you need to kind of consider.
Yeah.
Would that be good?
I'll send an email or I'll post it in the Canvas.
Perfect. And all of you have accepted Canvas, right? You're on our Canvas. So we post everything there, and then we can have discussions back and forth. And I want to invite you to my class. I'll get you the date on the last day, but I want you to, because I might be able to take another faculty member with me on the May 18th trip. So I don't know where we're going to go yet. Like I said, I have 11 students who are putting proposals together using that actual proposal sheet, and Kurt and Tessa are going to be, and myself are going to be evaluating which one is the best trip that I should take them on, and then depending on the number of students that we get, I could possibly take another faculty member. So anyway, I'm just putting that out there. If you're interested, you're welcome to come to that final presentation day, and you'll watch the students present those proposals that you're going to be preparing. So then maybe they might want to take one of those groups that I don't take. There is one, I think, for Costa Rica. There's a Costa Rica trip. If you like the trip and you want to be the faculty member to take them, the trip's already planned. You know, the budget's already there, and you can tweak it any way you want. So anyway, we want those to kind of be on file for people to use because they're really good projects. I did it last semester with my tourism management class. We had 9 proposals, and about 5 of them were, you know, really good, solid proposals. And I'm welcome, you know, we're welcome to share them with all of you because I want you to go on a study abroad. I think it's great.
Yeah. The other thing I would encourage you to do is go to our website and just kind of poke around and see what's up there. You can click on the summer programs and see a list of the programs that are going to be run most of them are in Maymester. And also there's a faculty and staff button. There's a page for faculty and staff. Let's give some advice, and you can look at I think the director's handbook is there. The
I think it
proposal
is.
form might be up there.
The link there's a list of links on the left-hand side of our page. One of those says faculty and staff. So those have some information.
Look around that.
Thank you.
And I think there could be 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 10 new
I
programs.
think so. I think so. All right.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.